My next guest got another big win this past weekend, taking out Vanessa Demopoulos, UFC Atlanta, back on June 14th. It's Jamey-Lyn Horth, live from her car right now. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Where am I getting you today? Because we're local. We live in the same area here. So where am I getting you? Beautiful Squamish, I assume?
No, actually, I'm just down in West Vancouver.
Oh, nice. Look at you, all fancy up in West Van. That's cool.
Like all ritzy with my pop collar. Yeah, I just came down. I'm an ambassador with Lululemon in West Van.
Oh, are you? That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm they're doing this special like 10 years of a line, which is like one of their products that they have, and it's like a 10-year anniversary. So they're taking us on a like retreat on Thursday to Salt Spring Island.
Nice.
And I just went and picked up like my goodie bag for the weekend or the day. So they got like shoes and a bunch of clothes and bags and hats and water bottles. So we kind of just like, we get spoiled rotten, but we got decked out. So naturally, when I come to West Vancouver, I have to come to, I don't know if you can see, it says Savory Island Pies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I know that spot. Exactly. Yeah, that's great.
Carrot cake connoisseur, the best carrot cake you never have is right there. Yeah. So I'm not cutting weight right now, so I'm going to get myself some carrot cake after I finish.
Well deserved after that win. So you and I talked obviously before you were supposed to fight your original opponent, and then obviously they threw Vanessa in the fray. Like, take me through that, like how you found out, and like how much of an adjustment it was. Obviously Vanessa's a strawweight, but moving and fighting a different opponent, with like I think it was like a week or something. Take me through that whole process of getting the new opponent, because we hadn't talked since then.
Yeah, actually, I was in West Vancouver when my agent called and my watch rang. I was being presented with 6 boxes of sweaters with my logo on them, like a gift from Lululemon collaboration. And I was like, just like through like the roof, like emotional, accepting it. They're all like filming me. And then I look at my watch and it's my agent, Jason. And I was like, fuck, I was like, I can't answer it. I was like, my guts just hurt. I knew that something was wrong. So going from the highest high to the lowest low in one moment, I ended up calling him back when I got in the car, and he just, kind of took me through it, just saying, my opponent's out, and, there's not much they can do, obviously. And they're going to potentially look at trying to make one to get me on the end of the month. And we're like, I've been in camp for 10 weeks. Like, I don't want to wait, you know what I mean? And
of course. Yeah.
But, we have Vanessa, and she said she'll step up and fight you in like 9 days. And I was like, heck yeah. Like, our motto has always been since the moment that we got signed, even just with Jason and Iridium and those guys at Iridium, was that we'll never say no. And that kind of happened when I took that short notice fight to sign that contract to fight Haley Cowan. And, I've been offered multiple opportunities, and then our motto still stayed the same. And we didn't say no. So there we go.
Yeah. Well, and it worked out, and you got a pretty dominant win there. Did the fight kind of play out how you thought it would? Again, 9 days, new opponent, a little bit different from your last opponent. What was sort of your overall thoughts on the fight?
I mean, the last, 9-10 weeks of camp, that's basically sort of the plan, was to be able to stick and move, defend takedowns if I needed to, feel people out, because I am very strong. And I don't mean this to toot my own horn. I am a very strong person. And I know that sometimes, you have to just put your hands on one another to see who's going to be stronger. Maybe her game was all grappling. Maybe she is a super good grappler, which we know she is. But once I got my hands on her, maybe I was a little bit more positionally sound. So, the game plan for Bleda was to stay long and play the distance game and strike and then get up when taken down. So I think that sort of game plan, really did apply for fighting Vanessa, with the extra reach advantage, and then again, her style being more grappling based. In most fights, obviously she's super tough and can take a lot of punches, but I think that game plan sort of was a smooth transition, and it stayed the same.
Yeah, and it certainly worked out. Kind of looking back, anything surprised you about Vanessa, or was it pretty much what you expected?
I mean, to be honest, I felt like I got to be the fighter that a lot of people hadn't seen me be. I kind of felt like I got to pull back my old battlefield days and display sort of my striking and my athleticism and my footwork. And that's something that I haven't got to do since making it to the UFC. All my opponents have been southpaw, and, this was an orthodox fighter. It was like the first one in 6 fights that I'd had. So, there was just a lot of good that came out of it. I think it sort of like gave me a little bit more confidence to be like, what, I still have my hands, and now I can actually show that, like, hey, like, I'm well-rounded, and I just, I'm learning, and I'm here to stay for a while.
How's Atlanta? Like, getting to go there? I don't know if you had been there before. How was it?
Never been to Atlanta. It was super cool. You know, I had Jared Ravel and Jay there, and those guys are foodies. So I got to live vicariously through them, sort of touring around and like going to all these crazy places, and then coming back when I didn't go with them and sort of telling me these crazy stories. But it was cool. Like, it's definitely like downtown, almost remind me of like parts of like downtown Vancouver, Victoria. Like, I don't know, like brick buildings, and like just some of the architecture was so cool. And where we were was right off the back of the Mercedes Stadium. So we were like overlooking the backyard, which is like the tailgate party place. And it was just like, I don't know, it's such a cool like setup, and everybody there was so friendly and so motivating and positive and encouraging. So super cool experience.
I don't think I told you this since our last interview, but I saw Jared at Ravel at the Abbotsford Canucks game a few weeks ago. I went to the playoff game, and I was just walking through, and I'm like, oh, I know you. Like, this was because I hadn't seen him in a while. I think it's been like a year. I think the last time I saw him was at the Canada Cup event, but it was good to see him. So glad to hear he was good company this week, and obviously a great coach as well. Did you get to celebrate it all after the fight? Like, take me through like post fight. I know you had to do the media and the medicals. Did you get to do anything after the fight?
I mean, right after the fight, we went downstairs, and I'm a coffee connoisseur. I love coffee. I'm a caffeine addict, I guess you could say. And there's a little, like, in the tunnel, and I'd seen it the day before. There's this like super cute guy that like had his little tiny booth, and it was like, I think it was called like, I don't know. I gotta look at my phone again. Story time or something. But it was like a little coffee kiosk. And as I was getting dragged from the ring to go do my interviews, I was like, I need a minute. I need to get a coffee. So I got coffees and chai teas for all my coaching staff, and nice on the house. So celebrated with a nice little shot of caffeine right after the fight. And then my mom, two of my sisters, my mom's husband, and two of my best friends flew down for the event.
Oh, cool. Nice. So,
you know, there was 10 or 12 of us that went out for dinner and watched the rest of the fights. And just sort of pretty much ordered the whole left side of the menu. So
good. Yeah. Take advantage of the food over there, especially when the fight's over. So we were talking about this off air, a bit of a surprise to, I think, you and me both. The UFC is coming back to Vancouver in October. And I know the last couple times, well, I don't think you were in the UFC. Oh no, you would have been in the UFC when Oliveira, they did the Oliveira. It was Nunes and Aldana actually was the card in June, almost 3 years ago now. Is that the plan? Like, are you going to wait out for that card? I know you want to keep active, but I mean, it's got to be a huge thing for you to want to be able to compete in front of your hometown, right?
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, this is such a great experience. You know, I've always said it. I don't really care where I fight. And, you know, 90% of the time I don't hear anybody else other than my coaching staff. That's just what I'm trained to do. But there's nothing better than, you know, I kind of got a taste of that when I flew out with 60, 70 people to Edmonton, that energy that, you know, our crowd and our fan base brings. And I know fighting here, and, you know, it's be a short turnaround for Loopy, but, you know, having us on that card as locals here in Vancouver, I think we would really, you know, electrify that place. And I think it'd be a great opportunity. Why wouldn't you want to have us on there and you know, support the local athletes in this area? And you know, from my fight to that fight, that's 4 months. So that gives me some time to sort of, you know, come down and then build back up again. And I'm, you know, I'm fine. I've got no damage. I'm good to go. So why not? I'd love to get on that Vancouver card, and I just keep posting that out there and putting that out into the universe, and hopefully that'll reign true.
Any opponents of mine, or you just leave that up to your coach's management? I know you just want to be on the card, right? That's the big thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't really look at it that way. I kind of let my coaches sort of do that. And to be honest, we haven't really had an opportunity where it's like, hey, can we fight this person? Can we fight this person? It's always been like, hey, you want to fight this person? And we're like, yes. Okay, sure. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if I'm even in a position to like make that call yet, you know, like just, we'll say yes, whatever it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Speaking of Loopy, I saw she got to go to the BC Lions game. Any collaborations with you in the future here? I'm surprised you haven't been out to like the Whitecaps or the Lions. They got to be integrating with the UFC fighters here. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I went to the BC Lions game earlier this year, and I brought my two nephews, and the experience for me was obviously super cool to have them there. They have me there and have me on the Jumbotron, but like watching it through my nephew's eyes, like how stoked those young guys were, and they were so good to us, you know, like they set us up, and it was an amazing opportunity. And most recently, we were supposed to throw the first pitch at the Vancouver Canadians game, but we got
that's cool.
But we got
got rained out. Okay, yeah.
We're gonna revisit that one, Loopy and I, And then she just was at the basketball game most recently as well. Too close for me to go to that one. But actually, as you were messaging with me earlier, sending me the link, I see I have a message from Iridium looking like a BC Lions connections coming up this weekend, maybe. So
awesome. Cool. Okay.
There again.
Okay, well, it's well deserved. I don't think that's something I've always wondered with athletes. Like they should do more of this collaboration because it's going to get people being like, oh, I didn't know we had a fighter here. Or maybe they did, and they can get introduced to football or something. Like it's a win-win for everyone. I don't know why they don't do that more with some of the fighters like in other markets too. So I think that's awesome.
Collaborating and community involvement. I think it's that's kind of a really big reason why I'm connected so well with Lululemon is that Squamish is a small community, and I'm very connected that way, and I always love to find ways to give back and stay immersed in the community. Obviously it's a little bit easier in a smaller town, but I think that the MMA world is very small when you start to get into it and intertwined, and I think that's a easy way to connect our athletes and build community support and support our local fighters and our local basketball, baseball, hockey players. So I think it's like you were saying, I think it's a good move. I think it's smart.
Yeah, certainly makes a lot of sense. This Lululemon thing. How long have you been an ambassador? I didn't know about this.
I'm just over a year. So my contract with them currently is a 2-year term, and it's been friggin' awesome. You know what I mean?
I bet. Yeah.
They supply food and beverages for events. They organize things. I come to run clubs here in West Van, and it's just nice. It's nice to be with like-minded people, and it's not just a paycheck or even just a product exchange. It's I have lifelong friends that I've created, that whether I'm an ambassador with them or not, I'll always have these people here, and they come up and make the trip to Squamish once a month, once every other month, and they bring a crew and they come get their butt kicked at the gym, and it's fun. It's just coffee and butt kicks, and that's kind of what we do.
Jamey, thanks for making time. I'm not going to keep you any longer from that delicious food. So in the meantime, if you got anyone you want to thank or any sponsors or anything, I'll give you the last word. Again, Squamish is amazing. I come from a small community that, has been behind me since day one. And, within that, each camp brings different sponsorships and different support systems. And, this camp, I'd love to just give back and say thanks to Wade Lackton and the whole team at Alta Lake Electric, Jay Martin, Nicole at the Skin Boulevard, and just the team, Outbound Station, my photographer friend Nicole, she's always following me around building cool hype videos, and Chewbacca, Carlos, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, he or if you've seen my Instagram, he's done some AI sort of anime comics stuff. Yeah, oh yeah, I've seen that stuff. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, shout out to him.
Yeah, these guys are just always so selfless and just wanting to give back. And I just appreciate, obviously my coaching staff, Jared, Casey, Jay, Jesse, all my training teammates and stuff. And, we're going to turn around and do it all over again and get Loopy ready for August. So here we go.